Ashley. Welcome on. Welcome on. Thank you for joining
Hi,
us today.
thanks for having me. It's nice to
How are
meet
you
you.
doing? It's nice to meet you too. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad, thank you. So, would you like to introduce yourself for everybody, please?
Yes, of course. So my name is Ashley Kinnick, and I'm a research associate at Autistica.
Would you like to tell us a bit about the research that you do?
Yes, of course. So I'm mainly focusing on a project called the Employment Readiness Program.
Hmm.
And that project is focused on supporting young autistic people in transitioning from education to employment. Um, and the reason it's such an important project is because employment rates are quite low for autistic people. Autistic people have some of the lowest employment rates of any disabled group. Um, and autistic young people face quite a lot of barriers to getting into work. So this program is about addressing some of those barriers.
What kinds of barriers do autistic people face with work?
So there's relative to their non-autistic peers, autistic people might have less support around uh, developing skills that are needed for getting into work, and also time and connections linked to being able to going out and get work experience. So this would be sort of looking at offering autistic people support in developing those skills and building that kind of confidence to be able to um, get into work and stay in work.
Hmm. Hmm. And you said you're focusing on the transition from school into employment, right? So, what kind of ages would that be?
Yeah, so the program is targeted at quite a wide age range, so 11 to 25 years.
Hmm.
Um, and we're interested in trialing it in schools and colleges and education centres, but also for trialing it for young adults who might not be in education, but who are looking for employment and who are looking for support to get into employment.
So, is it any kind of employment, like across the board, or are you kind of tailoring the support to specific types of employment, like maybe certain sectors, or is it literally just anything?
Yeah, it is across the board. It's mainly focusing on, um, yeah, a sort of wide range of skills and knowledge that is that is considered useful, and that's we're working with the autistic community to identify what's going to be most important to include in that kind of program. But that could be going into any kind of employment.
Hmm. Hmm. And what kind of skills are the ones that are most commonly targeted in the program?
This is something that we're working on at the moment. So
Hmm.
we've got community work going on currently to develop a curriculum that will sort of shape the kind of content and resources that people work through. Um, so I don't know if I could go into too much detail about that, but sort of quite a wide range of skills around getting ready and applying for jobs, and sort of once you're in the workplace as well, the kind of skills and knowledge that can be helpful there.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I remember when I was first applying for jobs. So my my first ever job was in a big retail store. That first, like transitioning into that first job was really, really difficult. It was so difficult. Like for me, there were so many unwritten social rules that I just didn't realize I was meant to be following, especially around the kind of like relationship dynamic between the shop worker and the customer. Like, I didn't realize that you were meant to treat them differently to your colleagues.
Yeah. It can be really tough. There's a lot of social rules and expectations, and a lot of that's unspoken that sort of happens in the workplace, and that can be quite hard getting, sort of transitioning into that.
Hmm. So, the work that you're doing is working with autistic people to develop the resources that they need. What is the process like of working with autistic people in research like that?
Yeah, so we are working with a community group that includes autistic people in at the moment in the age range of 16 to 25. And we are also working with parents of autistic people and employment professionals and education professionals who might also have expertise to feed into that process. So we've got a community group that we're working with them on a sort of continuous basis, and they're feeding feeding into that development of the program. So through a variety of approaches, but sort of all online, and at each stage having different activities that we run with the community to work on different aspects of the program and the content, to make sure that it's community led and meets the needs and priorities of autistic people.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that I thought was really, really cool about Autistica, is that I've seen so much research. Maybe it's starting to change a bit more generally now, and I'm sure that's in part due to the excellent work that you all are doing. But my experience, kind of like whilst I was younger, especially, was that I would see this research coming out, and it would be stuff that like I just didn't see the point of it. Like, it'd be things around maybe like health conditions or things like that like I do deal with, but it's not the biggest priority in my life. So the fact that there is that community input, and like the goals are kind of driven by autistic people, and the people around autistic people as well, like that's such a cool thing.
Yeah, I really like getting to work in this way, that's working with the autistic community and autistic people, and making sure that work really is driven by what people are saying is important, and the sort of the kinds of research we're doing, and then also into the details of the research, making sure that that's community led and is actually important and useful, like you say.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my name is Giorgia, and I have been at Autistica for almost 10 years. I work in the income generation team. And one of the things that I remember vividly about Autistica when I joined is that they were doing a lot of work to make sure that everything that we were doing was community-led.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember our chief executive, who's only just left, he would always ask the question at the end of an idea or during a project or during the meeting, is this going to make a difference to autistic people's life? As in, that was the ultimate goal of everything that we would do. So, even when we launched the Autistica Tips Hub, thanks to the money raised through Jingle Jam, I think it was last year now, even that project was very much community-led. We involved the community throughout. We always say that particular project is for and by autistic people. So it's like something that we're really proud of.
So we've talked a bit generally about what the research goals are, and all of the amazing impact it's having. I'm going to ask you annoying psychologist questions now. Mm-hmm. in the work that you're doing, what kind of research methodology do you generally use?
So at the moment, so the first stage of the project is that program development. So that's a period of a phase of co-development with the community to develop the program, and we've been doing surveys, focus groups, and interviews to gather people's insights on the development of the program. And then the next stage of work is to evaluate, do an initial pilot test. So that's going to be a pilot trial that we run next year. And that will be looking at, running the program in schools and education centres, and doing sort of an initial evaluation of the program and people's experiences of going through the program.
Amazing. So there's going to be a little bit of like field work based stuff going on.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
That's so exciting. We love ecological validity in this house.
Yes. It's really exciting work. Yeah. And it's amazing to be part of it. So yeah, excited to see this next stage next year.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. And now I've asked you so many questions about the research. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about yourself?
Yes, of course.
So what is your background? How did you end up doing research at Autistica?
So my background is in psychology. I studied psychology at university, and I did my master's in developmental psychology. And that led me into initially working in mental health research that was looking at digital treatments for anxiety in young people. And part of that research was then looking at how do we adapt that research for autistic young people specifically to make sure that it's actually helpful and suitable for autistic people. And I really enjoyed doing that. And I'm also just really interested and passionate about neurodivergence and autism. So I was really keen to sort of stay in that sphere of work. And that sort of brought me over to my work at Autistica, which, as I was saying, is, really exciting to be part of this work, which is so important. And yeah, getting to be involved in work that's going to, make a big impact in terms of, thinking about people's quality of life.
Amazing. And when you're not doing research, what do you do? What do you do outside of work? What do you enjoy doing?
Lots of different things. What have I been doing recently? I recently started learning to crochet.
Ooh.
And I've really enjoyed that. It was a bit tricky at the start, but I've now crocheted a penguin, which I'm very proud of.
That's so good. I love that.
So yeah, definitely gonna try and do some more of that. I'm planning on doing a hedgehog next. So that's been quite good. That's been quite good in the colder months. But when it's a bit warmer outside, I like to go climbing and running. But yeah, I'm watching the rain come down outside and I'm thinking that's definitely a summer activity.
Yeah, the weather's far too variable at this time of year for any consistent outdoors activities, unless you like the rain. I don't know. Maybe some people like it.
Yeah, not so much for me.
No, especially not like climbing. That's definitely not a thing to do in the rain.
That's a no-go. Yeah.
Okay, so the employment readiness is part of our employment goal, which is doubling the employment rate for autistic and neurodivergent people by 2030. So it's a very important project and part of a big vision that we're all working towards.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it. Both of you, both Ashley and Giorgia, thank you both so much. I really appreciate it.
You're so welcome. And thank you to you and your community for everything you're doing.
Yes,
thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks so much. It was really nice to meet you.
Thank you.